Hey Ajish, good morning. Very early for you, I guess, in LA. I think you're on mute, man. I think you're on mute.
Yep. Thanks, Vivek.
Okay.
Good morning, good evening to everyone. I hope
Yeah.
everyone is doing okay.
Yeah, I just caught up with Sri. In fact, he's coming. I mean, he's joining very soon. So I think he should be here any minute. And I was just telling everyone we could just wait for maybe another couple of minutes before we get started, right? Just for everyone to just join.
Excellent.
Hey Sri, hello. Can you see us, hear us fine? Everything's okay with your um, audio video feed?
Yeah, good.
Okay, I
Okay.
think maybe we can get started anyway, because this is going to be a recording, recorded anyways, so that
Mhm.
we can come back and view this at any time. So
Sure.
maybe I'll
Sure, not a
I'll
problem.
I'll give a brief intro, and then we can go over to both of you and then take it from there, right? All right. First of all, I want to say thank you for everyone who has joined. It's been a while since we had a video AMA. And the reason why we wanted to do it this way is because there's a new team, and we usually do the Twitter Spaces, and we wanted to see how the Google Meet works. I know quite a lot of people complain about being a little buggy or slow, but let's see how it goes. Okay. So yeah, welcome back. All the people who's able to join now and maybe going to join later on. So this AMA is all about, like a lot of changes has happened in the project in the last few months. So it's very important, especially with the new team and all of these changes. It's important that we introduce them to you. And me being the founder from the previous team, I thought it's appropriate that I'm here and I'm continuing to support and also be part of this introductory process where I know both Ajish and Sri quite well now. So I would maybe straight leap into maybe take a moment to recollect whatever happened since the beginning of this year to where we are today. Okay, so I think everybody knows, like in March, April, that's around the time we got started working with the council. So just to give a recap of what the council is and what the governance structure is on all that, I wanted to maybe remind you about how we started off this project. Well, the Polkadex was initially founded with almost 50% of its token and treasury supply locked under governance. The reason why we did that is it's a very long journey for the project, and we thought that okay, it would be better we start off with the 50% tokens under the control of the community, because at that point in time, we do not want to be in a place where we do not have the firepower to keep moving forward. But even though, like, we've been building for 4 years now, the reason why we are still able to continue building and continue working with the community and give it the kind of uh, the uh, the governance and the decision making power is simply because of our treasury and how we have tried to utilize Polkadot's Gov 1.0 to continue building. So anyway, long story short, we started working with the council from March, April, and like any new decentralized project who's just moved into a DAO model, there has been some challenges, as you have seen, in decision making and also in getting stuff done in time. And even though we can go back and forth on what went wrong, I think there's been a lot of learning for the project as per what happened. And it took some time for everybody to realize and come to terms with how important it is to have people in charge, how important it is to take decisions on time, and how important for us to be aligned with the changes in the industry and be quite flexible at that and move forward, right? So now we have passed that that phase where now we have, that's a few good news. I would like to say that we have a stable council, and we are now working directly with them. We are updating them on a weekly basis. Not only weekly basis, we interact with them on a daily basis. We have a separate group for that, like Telegram chat for that. And I really want to thank even the previous council members and also the present council members who are actively participating on that front, especially people like Miners. And right now we have Thomas also taking a lot of charge, to help us with, taking decisions. And so that is one thing, that we have a council which is now more involved and responsible, and at the very center of things. The second thing is obviously the most important thing is the fact that we had a team change. Obviously, as everybody knows, we had a change in team. Gautam and Dipansh were part of the founding team, and earlier this year, they have both decided to move on, and we have seen that. And so I've been personally trying, and also to work with the council, and also to see how we can put a team together. And that's when I started talking to some of my old colleagues, and who were also part of the founding team, in terms of the fact that they were also early investors in the project. So Ajish was one of them, and I'm really happy that he has finally decided to join and help take this project forward. And in fact, we go a long way back. We know each other for almost 20 years now. We started off in the same company after our graduation. In fact, we worked together in the same company for a couple of years before both of us branched out and started doing our own stuff. I was running my own company, and he was running his own company. And both of us were very active in the software outsourcing industry, and almost for close to 10 years, I think. And in fact, Ajish had a very good exit with his company to one major US corporation. And myself, I also had an exit with one of the angel investors who came in from the US as well. And both of us have worked with US partners and clients before. So it's been a long journey for both of us. So when we discussed about the problems we are facing to execute this project, and also when I explained the vision, which he already knew, because he was part of the early investors, he was very interested and supportive, and he said he wanted to join me. And I think that was a turning point, I believe, I guess, on top of the fact that now we have a supportive council. We now have a great team. And so that's about him. Maybe he can do his own introduction later on. Now I'll move on to Sricharan. Well, I know Sri through Ajish. So through the brief interaction we've had, I understand that he also clearly understands the vision where we are headed. Because when we started discussing about this, the first thing he asked me, what is your vision and what is your goal? Which is extremely, motivating, interesting from my perspective, because without that final direction on where we are headed, no amount of technical, patchwork is going to help take this project forward. Because what we need is not short-term fixes, but we need to position ourselves so that we are able to compete not only as a protocol, but also to serve the users, and to serve that. Basically provide a solution to the problem they are facing. So that's when the whole discussion started, and we explained what we are looking at, what we are trying to achieve, and what we have achieved so far. And Sri was also on board with where we are headed, and looking at his experiences already, he has been part of many projects. He's a very senior tech leader from Bengaluru, and he has worked in projects where he has built exchanges before. He has built projects as a turnkey, built, operate, transfer kind of model. He has done it. So he's a very seasoned consultant, and we felt that his experience would add a lot of value to this project because, for whatever reasons, the stage we are in, even though we cannot at all, point fingers at the previous devs, because there was a limit to which they could execute, this project, because the vision is quite big enough that the things that we require today at this point is always changing, and technology is changing at super fast. And we need to make sure that someone who is really experienced, or we need to build a team that's very experienced from now onwards, because now that we have the basic infrastructure, it's all about having the right processes and systems in place to make it a very enterprise-grade solution. That's what we want to achieve finally. But more of that, I think I'll leave it to Ajish to do it. So I guess these are some of the things that happened. And finally, I also would want to say about the fact that the foundation, how important it was to form the foundation, to form agreements with the developers, and to have strong commitments and legally binding agreements to be formed with third parties. So the reason why I brought it up is simply because we are not an operational DAO like Polkadot, who deals mostly with the protocol alone. We are also dealing with a very product-focused DApp. So decision-making involves third parties, and decision-making involves commitments in terms of payments and value transfer, IP holding, and all of that. So we need to have legally binding agreements because to enforce such agreements on a DAO is close to impossible. So we had several rounds of discussion with our lawyers, and I think it has become imperative that for a small protocol like this with a very specialized DApp, it's important to have a foundation in place to which we can talk to, to which we can, because people keep changing, right? You cannot have the same people on the council all of the time, because I know for sure me, Dipansh, and Gautam were on the council for a larger part of the protocol building process. And later on, we had other people coming in, and then we have more changes. Now we have more people coming in. So it's very important to give it a legal body structure so that we can actually talk to that legal body instead of just talking to just people, because council keep changing and most of them are anonymous, and we don't want to enforce certain things on them which they are not willing to disclose, for privacy reasons. So I think that is another thing that has developed in the last few months. So we have a new team, a new council, and the registration of the council, the foundation is also happening. And the agreements with the previous developers and the founders is also going on right now. I believe Ajish is taking a lead role on that. More on that, probably he can explain when he talks. I think these are the good things that have happened in the last few months. Even though there has been a stall in the project, I would say that without a very good, strong foundation, you cannot build anything. So when that foundation was shaken for a little bit during that period of Dawa coming in, Gautam wants to move out. Before we do anything, I think we need to fix the foundation. We need to have the bedrock, which is solid, so that anything we plan strategy-wise has something to stay on. So that's taken care of now. And I think the path is clear now for building and doing whatever we want to on top of this. So, all right, I think I don't want to extend too much of my time. I would rather hand over to Ajish to maybe introduce and then maybe take us through this call, and I can chip in whenever you need. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Vivek. Let's start with introducing the new members in the core team. So you know Vivek very well, so needs no introduction. I'm Ajish. I'm an engineer by qualification. I specialized in computer science. That was almost 22 years ago. I started off my career as a software engineer, just like most of the Indian engineers. I went on to work with several large companies in different spaces, like infrastructure, data center operations, and then I worked with large corporations like America Online. And at some point in time, the entrepreneur bug bit me. So I also got into becoming an entrepreneur. I started off a company on Bootstrap, and then so I like built it for almost 5-6 years, and then went on to exit the company by selling it off to a Chicago-based larger host company. I continued my entrepreneurial journey by acquiring another company along with a bunch of partners with me, and that was mainly into e-commerce development and custom solutions for large merchants, headless commerce, etc. I've been heading that for up until this time. I mean, I decided to like jump on the Polkadex bandwagon and help the team restructure and rebuild after all this happened. Yeah, and as Vivek said, I was a very early investor in Polkadex. I strongly believed in the project, and just like all of you, I share the same sentiments on what happened with the project. But I think we have some hope to move forward with. We are building a very large, very strong team. We'll be very careful with all the hirings to make sure that we have the right team members with the right aptitude as well as attitude, so that we can brick by brick build a very strong team for the long run. And this is not for any temporary fix. This is for achieving the larger vision of Polkadex. There's not much deviation from the original vision, but the roadmap might change a little bit here and there. But the original vision and mission is intact. And at this time, I want Sri to introduce himself with all his background, so that you get to know him, and then we'll go forward from there. Sri, over to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Vivek. Thanks, Ajish. Thank you for introducing me in such a good light. Anyways, hi guys, and my name is Sri Charan, and I come from a tech background, of course. But my experience since 2000 has been more into Web3 projects and more of both technology and business. I started my career in 2006 with a company called Unisys in Malvern, Pennsylvania. So from there, I finished the project in 2010, and then I moved to Finland for a Finnish company where I started introducing intelligent networks on top of 3G and 4G at that time. And then in 2014, I started my company in Malaysia and Singapore. And I was running a company until 2017 where I was concentrating on next-gen technologies like augmented reality and virtual reality and its applications in ERPs. So my biggest client at that time was the Lion Group, which is one of the largest groups in Southeast Asia. After that, in 2017, me and a couple of friends got together and we thought we'll build a blockchain, which was specifically meant for enterprise-grade Islamic fintech products. So we went ahead since 2017. We built our own Layer 1 blockchain and launched it in 2018 end or 2019 early. Which was taken up by various government institutions like Religious Affairs Ministry of Oman and other enterprise endowments and Islamic fintech platforms, where they use our blockchain at the moment to create and run exchanges for Islamic products. And create a proof of authority over all the launches of new Islamic products. Think of it as a new stock market just for Islamic products. So once that was done in 2019, we created an exchange in Hong Kong. We ran it for about a year, and after that we had to shut down because of the new regulatory concerns what we had, but after that we were going in for the regulation. But then again, after the pandemic hit, we kind of took a back step on that one. Beyond that, I specifically work with Web3 and fintech and exchanges, whether it is a commodities exchange, whether it is a spot exchange, whether it is perpetual or futures exchange. I have run this, and I have also run it from the side of the exchange house itself. And I came about this because in 2009, for about 8 months to 10 months, I deployed a project for HFT for Morgan Stanley. And that was my first stint in understanding how trading works and how the large corporations make it happen. So those were the lessons which learned, which were brought into the exchanges at that time and which worked really well. But unfortunately, regulatory space was so dynamic, we couldn't catch up at that time. And then we went ahead and launched other AML-based blockchains, currently working in East African region and Middle East, where we have done our AML-based Web3 products. Whether it's credit scoring, whether it's AML, whether it's financing, whether it is micropayments, we have introduced all of them, including wallets there. So when I met and they told me that this was a project, and initially I was introduced telling that there was a project which was in trouble and we just need to bring it back up. But I was not very keen on picking it up because I was like, okay, I mean, it's just an exchange. Why would I bother? So, but then again, when I met Ajish and Vivek and they explained to me what exactly is happening, I saw that more than technology itself and the way in which it's been designed, the more important thing is there is an aspect of running an exchange. And I was asking them how a DAO runs an exchange because it's the concept is very new to me. Because the way I have run exchanges, it was completely by a private limited, and they run the exchanges because it is done like a business. So anyway, so we started off there, and as we went in more discussion, more deeper discussions in terms of what is being done, what needs to be done. I gave them ideas that in terms of technology is one side of the coin, but then the business strategy in terms of how to make the exchange profitable and how to make to run an exchange in the first place and what kind of team would be required to run such an exchange. So that's where we kicked off, and the more they explained to me, I got more interested in the project. Then I signed up and okay, fine, let me check out how can I make this happen. And I told them that first off, I would try to fix the technology. Second, we will take it to a point where all this becomes profitable for everyone. And beyond that, we can discuss about venturing into other areas where technology is taken at the moment, whether it's the way in which the new exchanges are built and the way in which the new exchanges are operated and the number of services which have been provided in Web3, where even an exchange need not do everything what we did back in 2018-19. You don't need to do anything more right now. You have service providers who can help you make that happen. So the more I got into the project, the more I understood it. I wouldn't go into the architectural decisions at the moment because some of them, in my opinion, were not correct. But then again, unless I don't go much deeper into it, I wouldn't know whether the decision then was correct or no. And moreover, I was told that the architecture was designed 4 years back. So I'm assuming that at that time, based on the technology available, that was what was decided. And now there is a big need in the project to actually upgrade on the technology because so many things have been done since that 4 years, and within the Polkadot ecosystem, outside the Polkadot ecosystem, there's so many things which could be leveraged to make this project a success. So that's where I come into the picture in terms of getting the technology up to the mark, and secondly, using my experience with enterprise grade blockchains. to take to the point where I can manage at least 1 million subscribers on the chain to start with. So now coming back to the point of the exchange itself, I was given to understand that there were certain problems which we need to fix first. So my focus initially would be to fix them, and then to see what all changes need to be done in order to take it to a point where it could be useful and profitable for the community, you guys, and at the same time, I make it a success so that I have another success down my belt. Okay, that's my introduction, and I hope to see you guys and engage with you guys more in the coming days. Initially, I will take a step back and try to understand what technology is being deployed and what is being done exactly. And beyond that, I will have to make decisions, and I'll keep you guys informed. Thank you, guys. And it was nice meeting all of you. Ajish, over to you.
Thank you, Sri. Yeah, let's a quick update from my side. As Vivek said, we are in the final stages of signing the contracts of knowledge transfer from the previous executives, especially Gautam, who has been spearheading all the technology side of the project. Gautam and Sri will be working very closely and I will be making sure that Sri gets all the information he needs in order to make decisions on the next steps and also start initiatives on the on continuing the journey. With respect to other two updates, I would wait for. I would ask Vivek to provide some update on the parachain auction as well as the treasury. I will be taking more control of this meeting going forward, like from the next session onwards. But as of now, I think Vivek is in a better position to give you several of these updates. So Vivek, over to you on the parachain auction and the treasury.
All right. Thanks, Ajish. Yeah, maybe I can bump in on a few points, and then whenever I need updates from your side, I'll chime back in. All right. So I think, as you know, the right now the parachain auction ends by the first week of December or second week of December, and new options are on the table, like the quote time. And there are a few more things which are also in the discussion with Sri Charan on certain changes in technology. So there are a few things that probably I will be handing over to Sri Charan on explaining how he might want to take it forward. So there will not be an immediate, bid on the parachain. Because we would need certain discussions and certain decisions from Sri to be concluded before we do that. So that is the status of the parachain at this moment. And coming back to the treasury and the spending status, I think I already explained. I believe we are directly working with the currently elected council. And right now, the priority is to form the foundation. And I have actually opened a treasury proposal as a democracy proposal in order to move some funds from the trading fees to complete that process. So I will make it public later today. And I request all of the community members, as much as you can, to try and support. And for any questions moving forward, for any referendum that we submit, it will first definitely be published to the community first, and you can also directly access the council members, and we will be submitting all of the documents for whatever expenses or whatever needs to be paid for. You can contact them directly and they will be able to give those details to you, because some of them are financial statements and stuff like that, and it may not be very appropriate to publish them online due to various reasons. So if you're really keen to understand any of these parts, I really request you to work directly with the council. And we will be working with people like Thomas, and Suresh has also been elected recently as the director in charge for the foundation. So there are quite capable people in charge now to get the details of where we are spending the funds and how we plan to take it forward, right? Yeah, I think that concludes the treasury and the parachain situation. And more on the parachain, why we have taken that decision, I will rather leave it to Sri to explain later. Well, otherwise, I hope, Ajish, is there anything else you want from me before we give it to Sri regarding the tech stack change and all that?
Yeah, I just wanted to like set some priorities for, I mean, we have set the priorities. I just wanted to let the community know that these are our priorities. I have shared it a few times on the Telegram channel. Just wanted to reiterate that our very first need is, as common sense says, we need funds to continue any kind of development, because we have to hire people to do tasks, right? So as a CEO, my top priority after the knowledge transfer is going to be fundraise. I have already started interacting with some of these investors, and I will be making progress in terms of coming up with a good pitch deck and a good narrative for Polkadex. So the next round of investment from, and one thing that we'll be making sure is that we go and get funding from a syndicate or a venture capitalist who can help us grow further. It's not just the money part of it; it's also about the organization who is going to be coming and investing with us. So we'll be making sure that it's a blockchain centered syndicate or venture capitalist, whatever you call it, and also make sure that they have significant influence in the market, so that they can help us in our forward journey as well. I will also try to see if the investor, I mean, this is not a necessity, but I will see if we can get some investment from the United States. That'll also help us in with some regulatory relief in terms of opening the market for the United States. And as everyone knows, it's a huge market to be in. So that's definitely on the cards. In terms of, I'll go to the Sri should be giving most updates on the product side. We also might want to rebrand depending on how we want to take how the project wants to go forward. Also will depend on our discussions with the investors. Rebranding will definitely help in distributing the tokens further, to start a new marketing campaign and PR. And yeah, as I said, it might depend a lot on the investor preference. So that's on the cards. I just wanted to bring it to everybody's notice that rebranding is an item on the table. And as I said, we will want to get into the US markets as soon as we have funding and we iron out the initial issues with the product and make sure it's usable. And also consider not exactly replatforming, but we could think about the benefits of embracing other ecosystems as well. And as a product, as an exchange product, the way to grow is to increase the number of users in the exchange. Our chain is built and done and dusted, so our focus going forward is going to be purely on the exchange as a product side. And we'll be trying all different options to make that product generate as much revenue as possible. Now back to Sri on the product side.
Yeah, thanks, Ajish. Guys, my initial read on the whole system is that there are certain things which are fundamentally, I wouldn't say outdated, but needs a proper upgrade at the moment. Number one in my head, what I've done a reading into the product so far is we have the layer 0, which has been introduced very recently, and there are other protocols which can be used for bridging. Now, do we really have to depend on their bridging instead of ours? Not really. We can replicate it with our own self if you want to. So I think the first point is the bridging itself. Because bridging will help bring in other tokens very easily. Now, there are 2 or 3 ways to bring in the tokens. There are the first way is, of course, bridging. The second way is actually putting in a shadow token for every token which comes in. The third way, I'm not debating that in my head at the moment because that's a different business model altogether. But coming to these 2 options, currently me and my team are looking into what's the right option to take it from what it is to with the minimum change or with not too much of a considerable change to basically move to a place where bridging becomes very seamless. And second reading what I've done into the system is the ease of use on the order book. We need to really think of redefining the UI in such a way that things are more intuitive to be able to take. I mean, just make like Ajish always says or Vivek says, just make a sleek product in terms of make it as usable as possible. And thirdly, the wallet integration is a big change, which I'm looking at that do we really need 2 wallets to actually trade once you're already into the ecosystem? Not outside the ecosystem, of course, you need to have 2 wallets, but once you're inside the ecosystem, you really need to have 2 wallets to do this. And lastly, there is this is just my opinion. Of course, the council and Ajish and Vivek and of course the community will have to take this decision. But in my opinion, I think the right thing to do right now would be to minimize on spending on infrastructure and liquidity provision until we make the technology better, that we could get better players into the picture. So what I'm trying to say in other words is that my opinion would be to temporarily shut down the order book, make all the upgrades what you require, then open it up in such a way that you have proper API integrations to proper market makers out there, liquidity providers, so that in any marketing effort which the company will do in the near future bears results. Now, if we do efforts and if we try to bring on the liquidity providers at this moment, currently the APIs for liquidity providers are not functioning. And number 2, what is the incentive for them when the market is small? Number 3, if you have to make the market bigger, any marketing strategy will ultimately funnel the users to the platform. And if that platform is not 100%, at least to the 90%, where people don't find it too much of a hassle to use, then you can retain that customer. Otherwise, all the effort to bring in the customers or funnel the users into the exchange would go down the drain in a way that we can't retain those users. It's just my reading at the moment. I am open to other suggestions. If there's a way to reduce expense at the moment and then use that expense in terms of bringing back more value into the product and a proper roadmap or a proper way in which the money is spent to take to the next level. Now, because I was debating on this for a long time, for almost a week in my head and with my team, and the last result of anything what we discussed would be like, okay, what will make the user stay back on the exchange and continue using the exchange? Because ultimately, PDEX is a utility token, and if I'm not making money on bridging, and if I'm not making money on exchange, then I'll have to either look for new avenues or I have to make this better so that I can make it worth to charge the customer to be able to use that, and the customer is happy paying that fees to be able to use that facility. So these are the things which are running in my mind, and it's been 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks since I've gotten into this project or trying to start to understand this project. This is my initial read, and what I would look at usually in an exchange is this. Most of the money post the technology development or most of the funds should be utilized in three main areas: keeping up the liquidity, funneling users, and bringing new products or getting new products. There's a fourth dimension, but it's generally not discussed, and it's an important dimension, but it comes as a part of these three. What are the other providers with whom you can leverage on to be able to provide things like whether it's liquidity provision or whether it is multiple other chains on board. And the last thing I really love, I don't know how this can be achieved here. I've not thought about it. Generally, we go into partners who have a big user pool, which can be ported over here because we provide a service to those partners. So I'm debating a lot of things in terms of this, and you guys are welcome to pitch in. And at the moment, my read is, as I explained to you, there are certain things to do on the technology. At the same time, I don't think it's a great decision at the moment to keep spending on an exchange without generating a lot of revenue. So I would suggest temporary shutdown, but I don't know what is the total or the total result of that. But at least from what I see from my side in terms of technology, in terms of running an exchange, and in terms of spending the capital, it makes a lot of sense. But beyond that, there are certain things like reputation and everything that I leave to you guys. This is what I feel from the past 2.5 weeks, what I've read into the code and the product. And finally, coming to the parachain, that's a very small agenda in this whole meeting. But parachain, I feel we should not bid because timeshare is coming and it might work out cheaper for us on timeshare. At the same time, the deeper from the top of it, what I understand from this technology is order book is outside, so I can deploy it everywhere, anywhere. So I don't want to. I don't want Polkadex to be stuck to Polkadot in the long run. It might limit the amount of exposure Polkadex will have to the market. But that being said, the technology is already built over the Polkadot substrate and the actual base of it. I wouldn't say it is a bad thing. I would say that at that moment might be it made a lot of sense. At this moment might be they wouldn't have taken the same decisions. Um, and using what we already have, I want to see how we can leverage it in such a way that we are not dependent on Polkadot. At the same time, we are able to connect seamlessly with other chains so that we are able to do two major things. One is to move assets from there, which is the most important task. Second task is um to see if the order book can be connected to those chains directly. So I don't depend on Polkadot only to actually keep my proof on. I could have other chains where I can keep my proof on. This becomes important because at the moment Polkadot is okay, but what if it becomes expensive? Um, I need other options in terms of rather the exchange needs other options in terms of putting the proofs there and in terms of keeping the cost low so that the most of the revenue does not go or does not bleed into other chains. Yeah, so I have explained the key things. To wrap my talk up, I would like to just summarize what I've just told. I would like to make some changes in the technology in terms of bridging and some order book refinement. At the same time, I want to look at the usability, overall usability of the system, in terms of making it stable, making it usable, and making it, if possible, attractive for the marketing efforts in the future. At the same time, on the parachain, I feel timeshare is there if we really want to fall back into the Polkadot ecosystem. If not, we can look at other things. And finally, in my opinion, it would be best to just temporarily shut down and not spend a lot of money in terms of running the infrastructure and everything. And based on what we read into the project in the next few days and weeks, we will be able to better suggest in terms of what can be done quickly so that it can come back up afterwards and it becomes usable again, and all the marketing efforts bear fruit ultimately. So thanks, guys. I've just given my opinion. Nothing of this is written in blood, so we just need to see the reasons why I have made up these statements, and we can debate on those reasons and see if they make sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Just to throw back a question on that, Sri, because you're here, just want to pick your brain on that.
Sure.
Right. So when you talk about a temporary shutdown, so you
Uh-huh.
essentially mean just the shutting down of the order book or the DApp side of it, right? Nothing else is affected. Everything else remains the same, but just the crux of what we are actually seeing
Okay.
on the
So
exchange. Yeah.
yeah. So let me explain that in a little detail. There are three major aspects of the chain currently, which is bleeding. Number one is the upkeep of the bridge. Number two is the upkeep of the order book, which is eating up most of the infrastructure cost. And number three is the amount of money we're spending on Polkadot to be able to put our proofs on the Polkadot chain for future references and for transparency. Um, the when I say a temporary shutdown, I mean a shutdown on these bleeding items. Um, the first shutdown on the bleeding item, I would say, would be on the order book. Now, once we shut down the order book, bridge won't make a lot of sense. And the amount of data which will go back into the main chain to be able to be put into the main chain would be really less. So the cost also would become less. But looking forward, even if we have to shut down the chain, uh, we could look at it, but I don't think so. It's a necessity to shut down the chain. We could look at it also, but I'm just thinking from the perspective that shutting down the chain basically means I have to restart it from that particular snapshot. I'm just thinking, do we really want to do that exercise or not do that exercise? Um,
I think
but
rather we don't.
otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Otherwise,
rather we
the
don't
other
disturb the chain. Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry to cut
So
you off.
otherwise, the bleeding edge is your order book at the moment because of all the Lambda functions and everything. And bridge doesn't make any sense once the order book is down. So those are the two things I would suggest to shut down until the amount of money spent on infrastructure is worth its while.
Okay, all right. Okay, I think Ajish, maybe you want to keep tab on the time as well. We have probably 8 minutes left.
Yeah.
So if you want to take any questions from the community, or maybe you have something else in mind, because we have 8 more minutes for the call.
Yeah, I'll enable the chat, and we'll take a few questions as much as time allows. But I think we have pretty much answered all the concerns of the community. I've been listening to them um, ever since mid of the year, so kind of know the sentiments of the whole community. But if anybody has any questions on today's presentation or anything else, feel free to put it out on the chat, and we can take a few for sure.
Hey Ajish, this is Suresh here.
Hey, Suresh.
It's not a question. I just want to thank you all for conducting this AMA. The vision is very clear now, and welcome Sri Charan. I think you have
Thank you, Suresh.
yeah, I think you have a good perspective on the future technological challenges. I would like to ask a question on this temporary shutdown, Sri Charan.
Hmm. Yes.
Uh, um, how long do you think the shutdown should be? That is question number one. Uh,
Uh-huh.
Question number two is basically, are there any other options apart from shutting down? Uh, and is it primarily because of the value of the PDEX token? And if the PDEX token value increases, uh, should we actually shut down? I mean, is it the price part, or do you want to give the users a new perspective of from a UI perspective and usability perspective and all?
Yeah. So you need to understand in terms of the temporary shutdown, the major reason or the major driving factor for that is actually the cost. So why? Because the amount of money you have to spend for two things, for liquidity provision and for the infrastructure, I feel it can be better utilized to make the system better. Um, and I feel that any changes will have some, ultimately any changes we make will have some temporary shutdown. But this temporary shutdown, what I was suggesting so far, is because of the cost part. And other things in terms of technology changes and everything can be done without a temporary shutdown or a longer shutdown. We can make it happen with a minimum shutdown at some point of time. We can do a switchover and everything like that. That might take few days or something. But the major concern, like I told you during my discussion about this, is it's a bleeding edge. Do you really want to get into that position where you're spending money waiting for things to happen, where the money could be spent somewhere else for better purposes?
Yeah, thanks, Richard. And I mean, I was just thinking about from a investor perspective, when Ajish is looking for VCs, I
Hmm.
don't know how they will think if we are having a shutdown, or
Hmm.
will it be better if we can actually tell them that we have a running product. Of course, I mean, I understand your point from a cost perspective, because that is the main issue we have here. I was just hoping
Yes.
that if the PDEX price increases substantially, maybe we can avoid a shutdown.
To bring more users, there are certain problems with the existing UI which might deter them in a way. And the other part is LPs will cost a lot of money, but I mean, it's not guaranteed. So I don't want to get into that discussion at this moment because it's a discussion by itself for a very long time.
Yeah.
To answer your question, in principle, you're right, but practically, I don't know how it's going to happen.
Yeah, I got your point. I mean, I just wanted to get your perspective on that, and
Yes.
I'm really excited, to be honest. No, I don't know. I
Thanks.
don't
Thank you
know
so
about the
much.
rest of
Yeah.
the
I,
community, but I'm really excited. It's like a new beginning. That's what I would like to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. So okay, we'll be in a better position soon. Ajish, don't mind,
Yeah, we
but
have one more question
the
from
question,
Damien.
Damien, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Damien, could you explain the last part of your question? Could Polkadex possibly benefit from it regards to bridging? Yes, it can benefit Damien. There's no question about it, and that's the exact point I was making at some time in my discussion that. What was there 4 years ago doesn't hold good anymore because technology's moved far away. Whether I want to take it through Hyperbridge or whether we want to do it through atomic swaps or whether we want to do it through layer zero, there are so many options today. We can just choose which one is faster, cheaper, which gives us more profit, which does not make us depend on any one bridge or anything like that, because dependency increases if we just go with Hyperbridge. But yes, you're right. Hyperbridge will help in terms of bridging.
Thank you very much, Sri.
Yeah, Damien, did I answer your question?
I think so. There was a thumbs up from him.
He gave a thumbs up. So,
Okay, I didn't see that. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
And just to say, Ajish, before when you talk about the, further development and shutdown and for this switching, of course, we need to have a testnet and an interface for people to come and test it and, to see how it works and functions, and all of that should be there in place, right? So
Yes.
that will always be there for people to see what we
you're
are working
absolutely
on.
right. You're absolutely right, Vivek. I kind of missed that point. Currently, I don't see the testnet and the test order book for people to be able to run play around with to understand what works, what doesn't work. In fact, I always tell anyone whom I work with or any of my teams that until you don't put it up in the market in face of the community, you really don't know whether it is correct or wrong. Because you might assume from your perspective as what we are okay what we are what we are assuming in terms of what could be the right way in which things work, it might not be the same. So testnet is very important, and so is the test order book for people to play around with. Thanks, Vivek. I just missed this.
Yeah, thank you, Sri. Shivam from the community has a question. He has raised his hand. So,
yeah. Hi, Ajish. Hi, Sri. Hi, Vivek. Thank you so much.
Hey, Shivam.
Shivam, this side from New Delhi, and I've been into crypto from 2017, and I'm also a Polkadex order user. And I've been trading on Polkadex from last few months, and as far as I can say, I have traded more than 1,000 times, and it is working smoothly. So I'm not sure what exactly has to be revamped now, because it has been revamped already multiple times, and now we have improved UI and improved onboarding. Although there were some points which are left, like direct deposits, and there has to be new listings, and we also need to increase liquidities. So these are some pain points from last few months after whatever
Yeah,
happened in the past.
yeah.
But I think order book as an end user, I can say that
Uh-huh.
order book is perfectly working fine and it is
Yeah.
pretty smooth because I have used others also. Although Polkadex
Uh-huh.
is a bit complex in comparison to others, but it is also providing
Mm-hmm.
us the security and
Yes.
you can say there is no downtime and it
Okay.
is working fine. As a Polkadex user, I can say it is working very
Okay.
smoothly. So I'm in the favor
Mm.
of going ahead with the current Polkadex UI only. So I'm not sure
Okay.
what
So
exactly need to be changed on UI side
sure.
apart
Shivam,
from liquidity
of
and
course,
new
yeah.
listings.
Yeah, of course. We did touch on the point about the liquidity and the new listings. That's very important. But when we take into consideration, all the people who have given their opinions. I'm really happy that your opinion is so good that we could use it directly as it is. But unfortunately, the other opinions have been that there are certain changes which could make it better. And moreover, Shivam, it's not about just trading. When we say have to bring new users, there are certain funnels through which we bring new users. Those need to be enabled, and that takes a lot of work in the UI as well. In terms of bringing in people and how they come in, whether they come in through referrals, they come in through different kinds of channels which we will enable. So when I said there would be a change in the UI, it includes all that. Don't worry, the ones which you keep you happy, we'll try to keep it. That's why we'll give it to you to test. You tell us if you don't like it, we'll change it back.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks, Shivam.
thank you so much. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, we'll be providing a test net for before we launch the next version of Polkadex. And to add to what Sri said, you have done 1,000 transactions, but how many users like you are on the system right now so that it could sustain itself? That's also a question, right? So we are considering many factors. It's great that you love the product. That's very encouraging, and we'll try to keep elements of the product that you definitely enjoy working with, and improve on the other sides that need improvement. Um, I think we are past our time, and I don't see any questions here.
I think there's one more
Vivek, there's
person,
one
I think.
question.
Yeah.
Vivek, there's one question from Andrew McQueen. Would you like to take that?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Will the tokenomics of the project change due to the Not at all. I think tokenomics is the basic, like the foundation at which we built this. So every stakeholder has their own position in the economics of the chain. So any such changes cannot go through without a governance proposal. So yeah, don't worry about that.
Thank you, Vivek.
Okay, even Damien supports what Shivam is telling. Yes, Damien, we'll keep those aspects in consideration that whatever is working smooth, I don't want to disturb that, but other parts are important too. So we'll make only those things happen.
And the shutdown is not going to be very long. It's going to be very temporary. Um, there'll also be a lot of dependence on how soon we secure funding, and that can have an effect on how soon we can bring back the whole system up, because we need to hire developers, and unlike last time, we need to make sure that they're all paid uh, uh, properly, and and we also need to make sure that they deliver properly. So yeah, a lot of complexities in there. I don't know how much of it we can explain is in this AMA. We're going to work really hard and try to get this project back up on tracks.
Okay.
Vivek?
Yes, I think there's one
Yeah.
last question from
Uh-huh.
IK Copsby. I'm not sure if I'm spelling it right.
Uh-huh.
You had raised your hand, and maybe you want to speak up, maybe? IK Copsby. Copsy.
Cobsy.
Copsy, yeah.
I don't see his hand.
All right.
though.
Okay. I think
Okay.
in that
Okay.
case, we can wrap up, I guess. We will try to do this more often now. I think, Ajish, probably we can schedule
I'm
as we
thinking
move
of a
forward.
frequency of 1 month, or 6 weeks, whatever works for people. Yeah. So that's all, and thank you so much for joining. And we're all excited. Let's make Polkadex great again.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Fun.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
guys. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thank
All right.
Bye.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice
Bye.
weekend. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Andre.
Yeah. Hi, Andre. Okay. Thanks.